Namaskar, Swagata. Thank you everyone for being here. It's wonderful to see all of you on a Wednesday afternoon. As we gather here on a Wednesday afternoon in Delhi, there's a person by the name Mamta. She's a mother of two children. She's in her mid 40s. She is currently running her own stitching business. She earns about 25,000 rupees a month from that, I was told. And she would have just come back from college because she started going back to college, which she stopped after getting married. She finished 10th grade, 10th standard, and now after about 20 years she's going back to college because she wants to do 11th, and her classmate is her own son. And when I first met her, she was one of the slum dwellers in Sandapur slum in Jetni. It's about 30 kilometers from Bhubaneswar. She became the president of the Slum Dweller Association, and she started taking a lot of interest in the activities of the slum. And she mobilized the local community. She was not only a community organizer, but she was also the implementation partner of the community center called Parichay, which is a place that is built as part of Jaga Mission. And that Parichay Center is now used to celebrate birthday parties and various events. And every time some community member uses that Parichay, they have to pay a small fees to the SDA for the upkeep of SDA. Now, this is the kind of stories that are running all across Odisha this afternoon as we are doing that. While Mamta is doing what she was doing in Jetni, someone else in Cuttack is running a water treatment plant. A transgender person is running a sewage treatment plant. Somebody is taking an afternoon rest in the Garima center meant for sanitation workers. Somebody is running a material recovery center, an MRC, an MCC. Someone else is managing, he's a Swachh Sati, someone is a Jal Sati. I can go on and on. I think you got the drift of what I'm trying to say. Thousands, if not lakhs of men and women have experienced this transformation in the last few years. And one of the reviewers of the book that we are going to launch today said that the urban transformation of Odisha is a story of our times. I think that's the story that we'll all hear today. And I'm so glad to be a small part of it. My name is Srinivas. I come here from Bengaluru, but mostly because I am part of the Odisha urban family with Mati sir, worked for several years in the Jaga mission. And as I look around the room, I see so many familiar faces, people that have participated in this transformation of urban Odisha. So, without taking much further of your time, I would like to get all the dignitaries on the stage so we can get the program going. So, let me first introduce, it's our pleasure and honor to introduce Sri Katikitala Srinivas. He is the secretary of MOHUA. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Please come on to the stage. Dr. Deblina Kundu, she is the director, additional charge at the NIUA, as all of you know. Ma'am, please on stage. Professor Om Prakash Mathur, sir is a senior fellow at Global Cities Institute and CSAP, sir. Mr. S.N. Tripathi, the Director General of Indian Institute of Public Administration. And the stars of the day, the authors of this book, Shubhagato. Sir, please come, take your seat. And my guru or mentor, G. Matiwadanan. I now hand over to Mati sir for a welcome address and introduction of the book.
Happy afternoon to all of you. Yeah, I extend a hearty welcome to each one of you, respected chief guest of this program, Sri Srinivas, Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Sri S.N. Tripathi sir, Sri O.P. Mathur sir, Mr. S.P. Singh, Additional Secretary, Devalina Madam, all senior officials from the ministry, distinguished guests, and my colleagues here, ladies and gentlemen. We are grateful to each one of you for making it to this program in person. Despite your pressing engagements in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, despite all the odds, you have every reason to not being present here. Despite all, you have made it. I consider this as a mark of love and affection for us to the authors and a mark of recognition for the work and the book. It's a 10 years work in the field and 3 years work in making the book. We are blessed, grateful, indebted to our state government, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Government of India, the secretaries and senior officials of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs all these years, right from the inception of all the flagship programs like Amrut, Smart Cities, from where we learned for their unstinted support, guidance, and recognition. Hearty welcome, sir, to Mr. Ashok Kumar. The experience we gained in the implementation, the lessons we learnt, inspired us to create state counterpart schemes to complement the central schemes and to cover the shortfalls, especially in the sectors like water supply, sanitation, to complete the circle, to make the interventions holistic and complete, to ensure universal coverage in all the cities for all. The ministry team has always been a great support, inspiration, and a great motivator, encouraging us to do more and most. That support and recognition still continues even after my departure from the department. I am grateful to the department. Secretary Sir and his teams present today in this event is a live testimony to that, the recognition for our work. I am grateful to you, sir. To cite a few recognitions which motivated us hugely and encouraged a state like Odisha to excel more. The drink from tap, the 24 by 7 water supply. Immediately after the inauguration of the 24 by 7 supply in Puri town, the then secretary deputed his chief engineer and his team from the Delhi Municipal Corporation. On the same day, they flew, landed up in Odisha to do the ground truthing, to check the veracity of the claim that whether we have supplied 24 by 7 drink from tap. It's because too good to believe. So it's quite natural. After getting convinced from the team's report, then ministry made it as a case study by the CPHO and published, documented the entire exercise, organized a national workshop in Odisha, in Bhubaneswar, inviting all state secretaries, all state Jal board heads to assemble in Odisha, visit Puri, understand 24 by 7 so that they can replicate this model. That's the kind of recognition we got. The ministry also formed something called AVSAR, Association of Water Supply and Sanitation Operators. The first time, unique, novel thing, where the Secretary MOA has become the president, and the Secretary was kind enough to make myself as the Vice President and the CEO of that national platform to provide a platform at the national level with private and public sector operators in the water and sanitation to be a knowledge and experience sharing platform. The drink from tap has now become part of Amrut 2.0, being now implemented in 500 cities across the country. Jalsatis becoming an inspiration for Amrut Mitra at the national level, implemented in all cities. A Mukta urban wage employment scheme. The moment we notified, ministry has circulated that scheme to all the chief secretaries of all the states, requesting them to come up with a similar scheme like Odisha. That's the kind of recognition we have got. The Garima, a scheme for dignity, safety, and welfare of the manual scavengers, as becoming an inspiration for Namaste scheme by Government of India. Fecal sludge management getting included in Amrut and SBM 2.0. At some point of time, the ministry gave us an impression that we are working as a PMU for the ministry. We are so closely associated, working with them on day-to-day basis, chasing the deadlines and targets along with them. But it was a proud privilege moment for us, sir, and that encouraged us to do more and more. Apart from the state government and central government, credits to my incredible team with officials, community partners like Slum Dwellers Association, women self-help groups, development partners to name a few: BMGF, Tata Trust, Tata Steel Foundation, Janagraha, Urban Management Center, CPR. CPR sir is looking up to me, whether I am mentioning or not. The list is unending. We were once feeling like Onida TV, owner's pride, neighbor's envy. So many professionals from so many organizations, committed, passionate, firebrands. You will find many of the firebrands sitting here. Though they have left, I have left. The firebrands are still working for us. But all pro bono, with no cost to state government. Without all of them, there is no story to tell. There is nothing to publish. It's not our knowledge on urban affairs that has been documented, but our hardcore experiences in designing and implementing various interventions that are documented in this book. The outcomes are phenomenal, setting a new benchmarks and redefining urban governance and development, be it drink from tap or slum proofing the cities or community partners as the fourth tier of governance structure. Slum free cities, is it just a slogan or is it doable? Jaga mission not only achieved providing 2,60,000 families getting land rights on in situ basis, but in that process, 28 cities became slum free. 28 cities in India. Tap water supply. Tap water supply to all households. Is it a political slogan or is it achievable? 106 cities out of 115 cities in the entire Odisha have achieved 100% house connection, tap connection in at home, with Bhubaneswar achieving 100% metering also. 24 by 7 drink from tap water supply in the entire city. 8 cities have achieved. Not only that, our experiences broke several myths floating around 24 by 7 water supply, like slums and begging. Transgender also is a unique urban feature. Before coming to this venue, you would have encountered, I have encountered a few transgenders standing in the traffic signals and the toll gates, knocking at our car glass doors, begging. In the evening, they resort to prostitution. Is it possible to transform the lives of the transgenders in the cities? Yes, they can become water and sanitation professionals, managing the water and sanitation facilities in cities like Bhubaneswar and Cuttack. Not only that, they rose to receive national awards given by FICCI, India Sanitation Coalition, as women change maker in the water and sanitation sector. Too good to believe? Yes, that's why we organized an international workshop in January 2024 with participation of more than 400 delegates, all state urban development departments, senior officials, with more than 30 international delegates from several countries coming, assembling, and 1 minute. Including the international partners like World Bank, JICA, BMGF, with extensive field visits to showcase the interventions, and the participants suggested that we should document these interventions and bring out a publication to tell the world that all this could be done by an ordinary team from an ordinary state like Odisha, provided we put together these ingredients, which are again not rocket science, to get these outcomes, which are very much doable and replicable by any other city, state, or country in the low and middle income categories. That's the very purpose of writing this book. Having written how to ensure that this book reaches the hands of every urban policy maker, practitioner, and professionals, getting it launched by the topmost and highest functionary in the urban sector, a visionary and hardcore urban professional, an inspiring leader, our esteemed Secretary, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Sri Srinivas, and in the presence of his incredible team, we thought that we would be able to ensure that this book reaches every needy policymaker, practitioner, and urban professional. Sir, your presence here today and and the book launched by your good office is the highest recognition of our work, and the book has received it. We are grateful to you, sir. My vocabulary will fail me to express my gratitude for your kind presence and for for having consented to launch this book. We are overwhelmed by the presence of all of you. Thanks to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. In my nervousness and excitement, I forgot to introduce Mati, sir, but I'm assuming that most of you are already familiar with him. I must also highlight that his efforts and the work of Odisha has been at the global stage, and several awards have been won at the World Habitat Awards and UN Habitat World Habitat Awards, the WADCO Global Water Leader Distinction Award, and the Global Water Summit in Spain, and WRI Ross Prize for Cities. The long list of such things. And you heard it, you got a glimpse of it, but we also have a beautiful little video that friends have made for this. Thanks to Anindya, Chinmay sir and his team, we have a lovely video. I request the video to be played now. Post the video, we will have the book launch, and then we'll hear from the dignitaries. The video, please.
Across Odisha's cities and towns, something remarkable is taking shape. In every neighborhood, in every community, quiet transformations are improving lives. With cleaner streets, secured homes, access to water, opportunities for work, and a sense of belonging. For generations, lakhs of families in Odisha's slums had no formal claim to the land they lived on. Today, they do. Jaga Mission is more than just land rights. It is dignity, security, and hope. With community leadership at its heart, more than 1,600 slums with more than 1 million people have been upgraded, giving families access to roads, street lights, water, sanitation, and the promise of a better future. And as communities take charge, Odisha is building new pathways, supporting neighborhood leaders, creating skill centers, and ensuring that every settlement thrives for generations to come. Work is not just about wages, it's about security, purpose, and the power to shape one's own community. Through Mukta, thousands of women and daily wage earners have found stable livelihoods by rebuilding their own neighborhoods, parks, roads, water bodies, and public spaces that bring communities together. And in every city, local self-help group women are ensuring that no one goes hungry, serving hot, nutritious meals with dignity, strengthening the social fabric of urban life. Clean streets, safe sanitation, and responsible waste management. These are the foundations of a healthy city. In just a few years, Odisha has ensured that nearly all cities safely collect and treat municipal waste, preventing contamination, protecting groundwater, and keeping rivers clean. Waste is now a shared responsibility, with local communities at the center, sorting, recycling, and reducing landfill burdens, making Odisha cities greener, cleaner, and more resilient. Access to clean drinking water is not a luxury, it's a right. With universal tap water coverage and India's first Drink from Tap initiative, Odisha is ensuring safe and clean water to every home. No more long walks to fetch water. No more uncertainty. Just the simple assurance that clean water will always be there. For too long, those who keep our cities clean have worked in the shadows, without protection, without security, without recognition. Garima is changing this, mainstreaming manual scavengers, ensuring higher wages, safety equipment, and social security. Because dignity is the right of everyone. Odisha's urban governance is not just about policies, it's about partnerships in practice. With municipal officials, self-help groups, grassroots leaders, and global development partners working together, the state is building institutions and systems that has hugely improved the livability in the cities. Odisha's urban transformation is about communities shaping their own futures, about dignity in work, about the simple yet powerful promise of safe water, clean streets, and secure homes. Two key members of the team have documented this urban transformation. Senior Indian Administrative Service Officer G. Mathi Vatanan, an esteemed urban development professional, Shubhagato Das Gupta, have captured this comprehensive process of change in a book co-authored by them. Introducing Decentralization and Empowerment, the Odisha model for urban development that discusses the key approaches and factors that underlie the highly successful urban development initiatives implemented in Odisha for close to a decade. It provides an insider's perspective on the thought processes that informed the development of public programs that focus on the well-being of citizens. It was truly a result of the combined efforts of the people and the government. The authors are only the connectors of dots and the narrators of this story. The book, Decentralization and Empowerment, the Odisha Model for Urban Development.
I now request the copies of the book be brought onto the stage for the launch by the dignitaries. I request Honorable Secretary Srinivas sir, please come forward, all the guests, for a formal launch. Copies for all the members on stage. Yes. One more copy. Good. Congratulations, thank you. Ma'am, Tara ma'am, please join on stage for the photo. Sir, please join us.
Isha is also there. Isha, please.
Sir, please join us, sir. A big round of applause for all the dignitaries and the launch of the book Decentralization and Empowerment, the Odisha Model of. Book is also available online and published by IWA Publishing. Thank you. Thank you. We have some more copies of the book and also signed copies, but there are some conditions attached. We'll talk about it later. Um, it's my privilege to introduce Dr. Deblina Kundu. She is the Director Additional Charge at the National Institute of Urban Affairs. Ma'am is a doctoral fellow with the ICSSR and a PhD from the. Ma'am, I was given 3 paragraphs, but you all know Dr. Deblina Kundu, so here you go.
Thank you. Respected Secretary Sir, Surendra Tripathi ji, Professor Mathur, senior officers of our ministry, dignitaries on and off the dais, friends and colleagues. It is a privilege to be here today among the authors of this book, Srimati Vatanan and Sri Subhagata Dasgupta, for their commendable efforts in documenting and telling such a complex story of Odisha's urban development through the book Decentralisation and Empowerment, the Odisha Model of Urban Development. Since Sri Matananji has already discussed the contours of the book with us, I would like to share my experiences on the schemes and programs documented in the book. A few initiatives like the Employment Guarantee Scheme, launched as a resilience measure for the returned migrants during COVID, more commonly known as Mukta, and the Jaga Mission, which recognized slum dwellers as the fourth tier of governance in the state of Odisha, did receive several national and international accolades in the past few years. In fact, I got introduced to Mati sir while assessing awardees for the WRI Ross Center Prize for Cities as a board member on its advisory council, and Odisha was the winner for the Mukta initiative. Odisha has for long remained one of the best kept secrets in India's urban transformation story. While the spotlight often shines elsewhere, the real innovation, the quiet, patient, systemic kind, has been taking place in cities and towns of Odisha. This book does a remarkable job of chronicling that story, of vision grounded in field realities, of decentralization not just as a constitutional mandate, but as a lived governance model. What makes this book truly unique is how it marries the administrative lens with a policy practitioner's insight. It is not just a theoretical or programmatic evaluation, it is a lived experience converted into a knowledge resource for the nation. The book opens with an account of why Odisha chose to reimagine its urban governance model, recognizing that functional and fiscal empowerment of urban local bodies is only the sustainable path for development. It explores how the state linked urbanization with economic strategy, focusing on smaller towns, spatial planning, and infrastructure development to expand the economic footprint beyond Bhubaneswar and Cuttack. The chapter on devolved governance details how Odisha has operationalized the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, not just in letter but in spirit, through cadre-based municipal staffing, devolution, and digital transparency. In fecal sludge and septage management, Odisha has led the way nationally, while other states were still grappling with the centralized sewer systems. Odisha develops decentralized sanitation infrastructure across all ULBs, guided by community engagement. Solid waste management in the state is not just a service, it is also a livelihood model. The integration of Mission Shakti SHGs into the waste management ecosystem has empowered thousands of women while significantly improving service delivery. Odisha's Drink from Tap mission is a transformative effort. By ensuring 24 by 7 drinking water directly to households, the state has redefined what basic service delivery can look like in urban India. I recall something I once said just in zest during a field visit to Odisha. I was standing in a slum looking for a slum. I told you, sir. The conditions were so livable that it took me a moment to realize that this was indeed an informal settlement. That moment stayed with me. It signaled to me that the discourse on urban poverty need not be one of deprivation alone. It could also be one of dignity, inclusion, and opportunity. The Jaga mission, in its two phased approach, is a model of inclusive urban development. At one point, Mati sir and I had discussed writing a book on the mission together. During our discussions, I did learn that through the granting of land rights to over 1 lakh families and by upgrading hundreds of settlements into livable habitats, Jaga Mission is a pioneering example of the concept of slum proofing in action. The mission was also presented as an example of successful urban governance to our Honorable Prime Minister during one of the national conferences of chief secretaries, which was on urban governance. Initiatives like Garima and Mukta do demonstrate the state's holistic approach, extending protection to sanitation workers and also helping in creating livelihood opportunities. Community partnerships and supporting initiatives reinforce a core message that urban transformation cannot be delivered from above. It must be co created with the self help groups, the slum dwellers, with ward committees, and with ULBs empowered not just with responsibilities but with the authority, capacity, and resources to act. In our engagement with the 6th State Finance Commission of Odisha to identify and replicate good practices across the country, our research has found that Odisha does have ample potential for development. It also offers robust examples for the country to emulate. This book synthesizes all of these into what we now recognize as the Odisha model: right based, community anchored, institutionally grounded, and state enabled. With only one fifth of its state's population residing in urban areas, the state is poised for urbanization that is shaped by rural urban transition policy that meets service level benchmarks, again, the first of its kind in the country. We are entering an era of urbanization that demands nuance, empathy, and imagination. Odisha's vision offers all three. On behalf of the National Institute of Urban Affairs, I extend my warmest congratulations to the authors and my gratitude for making this knowledge available to all of us. May this book inspire other states, inform urban policy, and above all, remind us of what is possible when governance meets vision with intent and inclusivity in its truest sense. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. That experience of visiting the slums or other colonies is something that no one will ever forget. I now invite Professor Om Prakash Mathur. Sir is a visiting senior fellow at Center for Social and Economic Progress Research Foundation and senior fellow Global Cities Institute at University of Toronto. He also served from 2014 to 19 as a senior fellow. Okay, sir, please. So we'll bring the mic. I now invite the chief guest of today, Secretary Mahua Sri Katkitla Srinivas sir, to speak to this audience. His sir is now the Secretary of Mahua 89 Batch IS officer from the Gujarat cadre.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be here, and I'm very, very sorry for this impropriety for having barged into your time, sir. I'm so grateful that you have considered. When we were trying to structure today's launch, I had a premonition that today might be perhaps a slightly lighter day. That as I was coming in, I have been summoned to another meeting, which I have to go in less than 10 minutes. So I thought I will take the opportunity of first of all warmly congratulating my senior colleague, Mr. Mathivathan, Mr. Das Gupta, esteemed members of the dais, and all of you distinguished ladies and gentlemen, who I know represent the cream of urban experience of this country. It's indeed a great privilege to be here amongst all of you and to have been given a great honor to participate in the transition, or I might say the sharing of practitioners' knowledge into the larger urban knowledge ecosystem, which is a very rare thing. So when briefly about a couple of weeks back, when I heard that such a book was written, and it is written by such illustrious authors, I was tremendously delighted. So my congratulations to both of you for having undertaken this effort, and as Debolina rightly said, and our gratitude also for having recorded it. Because as all of us know, in the urban sector, unfortunately, most of our knowledge is almost personal. It is anecdotal. It is rarely written down, and it is rarely well researched. So therefore, it is a collection of a series of anecdotes that we have built on, and in a way, we are, I think, experiencing urbanization as it is hitting us and as we are reacting to it. But with a book such as this, which really is capturing the, I think, the spirit of all the efforts of millions of stakeholders who have participated, hundreds and thousands of colleagues who would have actually contributed to the transformation. This is an invaluable record of information. So I think this is a great addition to the repository of knowledge. The second thing I really wanted to say is that when we are all trying, and urbanization is, as you rightly mentioned, not only is perhaps Odisha's urban movement, India's urban movement in Odisha, but also it is a global moment of urbanization happening in India. So we owe it to the world in a way to share with our learnings of how did we undertake this kind of a transition. How did we, what kind of challenges did we face? What options did we really explore? And what choices did we make, and how did we go forward? I think these are learnings that will help us not only grow ourselves but also share, as the Honorable Prime Minister and the Government of India has always aspired to share our knowledge with the globe, particularly, and provide leadership to the global south. I think in both these regards, this contribution to the existing set of documented knowledge is going to be a remarkable transformational moment. On that count, also, I warmly congratulate you. Friends, I would have really liked to spend a lot of time to chat, because I know it's very rare to put together such an esteemed and a distinguished group of urban practitioners, and perhaps I would say people with insights into urban. And every time, urban is like Marvel Comics. You think about it. We all wonder. Everyone has. We all have our own understanding of what is urban. How did it happen? We all have our definitions. We all have our heroes. There are superheroes. Each one has different costumes, but we are all somehow plodding and succeeding and moving on. So I personally have also been a part of this journey of trying to really confront and understand what is it that we are dealing with. In a way, trying to define it, and in a way, trying to react to it. So I think it is, I think, a collective experience. So when I look at urban, at the core, at its summation, it's about people having made choices at some point. Then those who continue to live in urban areas, perhaps they are choiceless. But then it is about a choice of a transition. So it's about people in the first place. Then it is also about geography. This reality dawned on me about 2 decades ago, when I just nearly completed one program. I was looking after the earthquake rehabilitation and the reconstruction of all the earthquake hit cities in Gujarat. So, in one of such conferences, there was a gentleman who walked up to me. He said, "Are you so and so from GUDC?" I said, "Yes, I am." So he congratulated. He said, "You know, you people are redefining geography," he said. So that is the day I realized urbanization is about changing geography. That is the second big shift moment in my head. Today, in the last one decade particularly, and the phenomenal amount of I think unleashing of opportunity that has happened in the urban sector, I think it is about release of choices and people's creative opportunities that urbanization represents. And in a truly, I think, in a very genuine and in a very honest assessment, I think all of us are in the process of making available to the people the opportunity to exercise these choices, enable them to make those choices, livelihood choices, locational choices. And it is so dramatic what is happening in this world. So while all of this is going on, this is one side of the story. The other side of the story is about localization, decentralization, empowerment. And when I read the cover of the book and then I started going through the TOC and then started reading the contents, a lot of phrases started jumping into my head. Many of them are current, of how you need to think local, act global. You know, it's very, very common, very commonly understood. How we need to really empower, decentralize, act very local again, and make something happen at a much larger scale. We also have articulation from the Government of India about cooperative federalism, about how the central government and the state governments must collaborate, must cooperate, must come together and together deliver public welfare. All of this is what we are all engaged in. And I was also reflecting back, and with this particular thought, I'd like to leave you all with more eminent speakers. But way back as a student of public administration, I remember reading that Lord Curzon described Government of India in a very remarkable manner. So, as Viceroy, he said, India is ruled from Delhi or Shimla, but it is administered in the plains. I think this story is about administration in the plains of Odisha. So my congratulations to all of you. Thank you. With this, I'd really like to beg your pardon and please excuse me for leaving you. I have to go to the other meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
No, no, please.
Thank you so much.
Sorry for this mercy. Thank you very much.
Now call upon Professor O.P. Mathur to share his views on the book. As I was introducing him earlier, he was also at the NIUA as a director from 1984 to 92 and a distinguished professor from 2011 to 2014. Professor Mathur has written extensively on urbanization, urban governance, urban finance, and written several books and a number of papers published in journals and books. He holds a master's degree in economics from Delhi School of Economics and have attended graduate courses in the MIT and Harvard University in the USA. Professor Mathur.
Thank you very much. Secretary has left, but I assume the additional chief secretary would be here in a few minutes. Would you like me to start, or wait for him? I mean, I would like to first of all congratulate the two authors, and since one of them is not here, um, should I? It's only a minute or so. Can we wait, or entirely up to the house? Entirely up to the house. I can wait. I think I would like to personally congratulate the one of the two authors who's not in the room right now. He's coming. He's coming. He's right here. Thank you very much, Mr. Watson and Shubhagatu, for inviting me to this function. I did ask Shubhagatu 2 days back if I can share with me a printout of the book, and he did. And I should mention that I have read the report over the past 2 days. And it is one of the most impressive account, one of the most extraordinarily impressive account of what the Department of Urban Development, Housing and Urban Development has been doing in Odisha for the past 10 to 12 years, and sharing that knowledge, that experience of the past 10 to 15 years with all of us this afternoon. It is an amazing account. It is an amazing account how a government department can continue to work on issues of urban development, and I'll come to that in a minute, consistently, holistically, over a long period of time, and waiting until some success can be seen on the ground. And that is where I think both the authors ought to be complimented wholeheartedly by everyone for seeing it through, staying with the program for such a long time. I should mention very briefly that Shubhagatu had talked about it very briefly in a meeting that was held in 2016 in Quito. He was giving an outline of what he's proposing to do, along with, of course, the government of Odisha in this particular program. So I knew about something was cooking for a long time. I think this is also one of the very impressive account of what inclusive urban development really is. If I were to really see it outside of the book, what phrase would really capture the contents of the book, it would be inclusive urban development. And I've not seen this kind of a comprehensive, consistent, sectoral, spatial, all these factors coming together to improve, I'm sure, the lives of the people in those towns in Odisha. I've not been to Odisha for a very long time, but I'm sure that the position that Debulina talked about, that Principal Secretary talked about, is certainly on the ground. And I would also like to compliment the government of Odisha for picking up the sectors such as water, sanitation, waste, land rights, slum improvement, AHA. This is the building up inclusive urban development around these very, very critical sectors, I think is also an amazing story. When you read the book, after the book, all kinds of thoughts come to your mind, no matter which book you are reading. And what came to my mind almost when I finished the book was that the footprint of the department is all over. It's a very strong footprints that we see of the department and all the teams that were working with Mr. Watson on this particular program. Very, very strong footprint. I'm not using the word footprint in the wrong sense. I'm taking it a very positive one, that here is the department who had decided to do it and done it over a period of 10 to 15 years or so, but very strong footprints. What I found missing in the book was how the whole thing was financed, barring the government funding and barring some contribution from the other. How was the whole program funded? Whether this is replicable, whether this is sustainable on a financial basis. These kinds of thoughts did strike me when I completed the book. There were two other points that struck me, and I think very brief reference was made by Secretary also here. One is the 74th Constitutional Amendment, and second one is the New Urban Agenda, to which the book makes reference at a number of places. Now, if you see the link of what has been done by the department with the framework of the 74th Constitutional Amendment, I think the link is weak there. And I'm being candid, the link is very weak. The 74th Constitutional Amendment does have a framework. There is the DPC, there's the MPC, the municipality is the linchpin of the program and the 74th Constitutional Amendment. There are the state finance commissions. There's the Article 283C on the Central Finance Commission. Now, those links, the impact of all that on some of these things, which I'm mentioning right now, I found them somewhat either deliberately not covered into the book, or the link is somewhat weaker. And I would have liked to see the primacy of the municipality, which is what the 74th Constitutional Amendment is all about, to be somewhat centrally placed in the book and in all the effort that the departments have been making. And the second point is the NUA. I'm mentioning these two partly because the book mentions it, and partly because I have also been a part of many of these international events and national events, very much so. Now, NUA really came into being in 2020, but the origins of this really go back to 1992, when the principle of subsidiarity was adopted by the European Union and brought into the Charter of the European Union, which is really the fallout of that we see in a very large number of countries in the form of the 74th Constitutional Amendment. In fact, I have a list of the 44 countries which have passed legislations very similar to the 74th Constitutional Amendment. And if we really run through some of them, I have not gone through each of them, but some of them, the message is very clear that yes, local government has a vital stake in taking urban agenda, the global agenda, the national agenda forward. Having mentioned NUA in the book, it would have been very nice to see how the future programs, the fallout of these, could also be incorporated within the framework of the 74th Amendment and as well as the NUA. NUA has been also articulated in the 2007 guidelines of the United Nations on local government, how local government should really be functioning. Now, these are some of the points that struck me as soon as I finished reading the report, and I thought that I'd mention them in my remarks, which are not as well articulated and written up as Debolina had done, but I thought I'd share them with all of you this afternoon. Once again, my congratulations to the two authors. It's a remarkable book. There are very few, I do not remember any book that has documented this experience of 10 to 15 years in such a lucid fashion, in such a logical fashion, playing up what needs to be played up, playing down what should not be played down. I think it has been a remarkable effort. Congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mathur. I now invite Sri Surendranath Tripathi, Director General IIPA. Mr. Tripathi is IAS from the 1985 batch, the Odisha cadre. is an MA in political science from Allahabad University and MBA public policy from Slovenia. Tripathi is a highly seasoned civil servant with a true academic flavor. I must highlight a couple of things before you grab the mic from me, sir. He held many positions from Government of India and Government of Odisha, and he's credited with revolutionizing the Panchayat Raj and Rural Development Department of Odisha. As Secretary IT, he digitized all the government orders and brought Government of India, Odisha information on public domain. We thank you for your service, sir, and your remarks on the book.
Thank you, sir, for introducing me. In fact, for the first time, I felt that you are from Orissa and you can own Orissa through the eyes of Mativatna. Orissa is not famous for doing something exceptional so soon, but it can happen. Orissa is not having people like O. Mathur and O.P. Mathur and many other people who can visualize what governance is all about, or what urban should or shouldn't do. We don't have very good advocate of 74th Amendment, and we have lot of position for parastatal societies that has been created. And I, as a bureaucrat, always thought that urban development need to be reimagined if we have to do something or we have to achieve some success in a state like Orissa. In fact, I bought Onida TV in 91, became neighbors to Matis in 2003. I always thought that I knew him till I heard his lecture in Xavier Institute, Xavier University, only 2 months back. The passion, the compassion, the knowledge, the spirit of helping the deprived when you are in the government. In bureaucracy, I am also included. We become wiser soon after the retirement. Ashok and I think these two are there retired. Many people become wiser when they join, and they lose their wisdom because when they are pressed into the system, they think that humse na ho pai. But there are few who has courage to think, and not only think differently, who have courage to have the solution mindset like Mati, and who not only think and solution mindset, they also know how to collaborate, how to cooperate, how to communicate. Because if these four things are not there, you cannot do anything even in your life, much less in urban and much less in a situation where both of us are placed. Least said is better. But there are people who think differently. There are people like Mati who can not only think, they have solution mindset also. That nothing is impossible with a good bureaucrat, with a sound bureaucrat. He can convince the politicians of the day. He can even convince other departments who are the stumbling block, who are the leader of opposition within the government, within the bureaucracy, and who can not only convince the sister department, but even convince the finance department to not only to support the dream, but make it happen. And this all has happened, which made me, since we were neighbors, sir, we never owned you, so it was owner's pride. But today is the day when this has become the neighbor's enemy. I do feel that nothing is impossible even if a one bureaucrat decides to do it. Some of those bureaucrats are sitting here. One of them we just heard. And all of you have done wonderful work. There is only one difference, that bureaucrats don't write and writers don't deliver. And here is one thing where not only bureaucrats have delivered, they have courage to write also. Let me congratulate both the authors for being so truthful that it looks like, the reading of the book looks like a poetry. It is so convincing that you don't mistrust even a single sentence, that it hai nathi wo. Orissa mein, we always believe that how can this be possible by a bureaucrat? Either he should be mad or he should be speaking lies. And in this case, none of the above are true. He is a thinking bureaucrat, he can deliver on the ground and deliver during his tenure. Many people in bureaucracy are very good in writing the citizen charter for his successor. ମୁଁ ତ ପାରିଲେନି ତୁମେ କରିପାରିବ. I did not do, possibly you may try. So after some time, both will celebrate that both of us has failed. Here is a bureaucrat who not only tried, he tried successfully for a decade. Very few people succeed. In fact, both of us share similar fate also, sir. I was Secretary Panchayati Raj and RD for 10 years. He was Secretary of Urban Development for 10 years. But he, crossed that limit of mine also. Today he is teaching the bureaucrat, I am teaching the retired bureaucrat. So there are a lot of similarity between him and me. But I changed his view about himself when I heard him speaking how a slum dweller can be a leader, how a LGBT community person, if given a dignity, can transform not only himself or herself, but even can become change agent and literally working on the ground. I have also 35 years in the service, rarely seen a bureaucrat with such a passion about the scheme which he himself was handling and retains that passion or pagalpan despite handing over the department. Most of us become cynical when we join and become extra cynical when we leave, and we become totally sentimental when we leave the department, and when we retire we become mental case. But there are few who think differently. I have only one thing to say. खुली छतों के दिए कब के बुझ गए होते, खुली छतों के दिए कब के बुझ गए होते, कोई तो है जो हवाओं का रुख बदलता है. कुछ लोग हैं ब्यूरोक्रेसी में जो इन हवाओं का रुख बदल सकते हैं, who do differently, who not only do differently, they communicate and collaborate differently. Because in bureaucracy during one lifetime, delivering on all the 10 fronts that a book documents is next to impossible. I haven't seen a similar example at IIP in any other state, to be precise. There are many star performers who have done one sector, one district, one area. But looking at whole of state as a model, whole of state as a delivery, whole of state as a pilot, and making it happen, it rarely happens. Sir, we were always told that 74th Amendment was watershed. Until all parastatal bodies are abolished, municipalities will never stand on their legs. And there is a definite contradiction in the eyes of ideologues and idea setters, or the what we call it academic world, that unless municipalities become powerful, you can't deliver. Here is a Odisha model where we need not take away or give away anybody any extra power. Without any extra voltage, things can still happen. And all the 10 cases have happened not because of 74th, not because of abolition of development authorities or other interested bottlenecks and vested interest, or not even empowering municipalities in the real classical sense of the term, where nothing except municipal will exist. That is also very extremist view, if not extreme view. And it can be delivered if few bureaucrats decide that it is worth doing, and they make a convincing case to the political masters that it is not only worth doing, it is doable and desirable. Odisha's urban model is a case in point. Friends, Odisha was a case to be studied. Today Odisha is a case to learn how it can still happen, because there are few bureaucrats, even if they are not in the seat of power today, they are as passionate as they were earlier. And good luck to him that his successors have never denied that nothing has happened. On the other hand, they are continuing and carrying on. That is what we call it institution building. Friends, public policies are always good. It is the public institutions who perform. And Sarkar, Bajar and Samaj all require decentralization and empowerment. I thought that and is missing because we were neighbors, we had a small boundary wall. So that and is that boundary wall. But friends, decentralization can lead to development, but can lead to misuse of power also. Empowerment can lead to development, but can make them parasite. Here is a case where decentralization has worked because the decentralization was followed by trust. Empowerment has worked because empowerment was followed by trust again. We all have known that फिल्में 3 चीज़ों से चलती हैं, entertainment, entertainment, entertainment. Urban governance work with only one theme, Jan Bhagidari, Jan Bhagidari, and Jan Bhagidari. When the government trusts, bureaucrats trust, politicians allow it to happen, and couple of authors document it, and it is presented to such a gentle people's presence. It makes a very compelling case that something good has happened in Odisha, and today we are celebrating that. I, on behalf of each one of you, congratulate the author, and my own behalf, I feel proud that I was also once upon a neighbor, and I feel envious that I have never written a book, may not have delivered like him, but at least think like him, that being a cadre is also a matter of pride for each one of us. Thank you, Matthew, for being here.
Thank you, sir. I can assure you that your book will be a bestseller on day one, judging by the wonderfully entertaining and inspiring speech that you gave. I think today we coined a new tagline for Odisha. As you land in Bhubaneswar Airport, you see India's best kept secret, right? Have you all seen it? I think the new tagline is Owner's Envy, Neighbor's Envy, Owner's Pride. This seems coming recurring theme. Thank you, sir. Um, um, as we come to the towards the end of the program, there's a lot more to be done. But from the formal stage program, sir, Tara ma'am, you are requested to say a few words. Sorry. Yes.
I didn't end my speech. Why are you clapping? Good evening. I think a lot has been said about the book, but I think I here want to tell something very important. See, as administrators, many of us who are in IAS get opportunities to work. What I want to say is, if you are going to work, then definitely you do some good work and you're being paid for doing that work. But what is most important, which is not mentioned in the book, is the leadership, which Tripathi Saab spoke about. I want to say there is Watco MD, Swain sir. He told that when we had to do this water supply to every household, we were sent to Singapore for training. When we went to Singapore, what I learned is, the place we have is at the feet of the citizens. That is the spirit with which Singapore water utility serves, and this is what we have to think and act up. I think the most profound thing which came is that, and that doesn't happen when you don't have a leadership like Mativana sir's. It was a great leadership which sir provided across this thing, and one leader can change everything because there are so many good people around in the system. They will align with you if you start working. There are so many inspirations we can take from what has happened in Odisha. But Odisha has acted in time. When its urbanization is at 18%, it was fortunate to have leadership of political, bureaucratic, and people's leadership to transform the urban story in a more nuanced manner towards decentralized but responsible urbanization. If it was 30%, doing that would have been so much more difficult. But 20%, if you are attacking, I'm sure the progress is going to be institutionalized and there's not going to be much of change there. Another thing which I want to tell you about is your partnerships. As Sir said, there was also always a measured partnership envisaged, where you're not going all out to talk about decentralization and you're not going all out to talk about centralization. There were centralized pipe procurements, but there was decentralized implementation. The contractors were treated as partners, not as beneficiaries of the government schemes, and there was transparency. So, to a great extent, and the book says every Saturday the CEO would take a review about drink from tap. Now, consistency, when you're working in a government system, how consistent you have to be. You don't need to be brilliant, you don't need to be, uh, you know, very good in many other attributes which are external. You have to be just consistent, give the same message, engage in the same manner with passion. This is what I think this book demonstrates. When you read the book, it looks very, very as if I've heard it all from him all the time. So for us, for the bureaucrats, this is the best book. When you read, how do you attend to? I mean, they have had a diagnostic approach to problems. They said, okay, pipes cannot be procured by people because they have to upfront pay it, and then laying becomes problem because all the payment leads to delay in payment leads to inefficiencies. So let's centralize the procurement of pipes, but decentralize the laying with small contractors. Now, this kind of thinking doesn't come if you don't understand the basic cutting edge issues. I'm really inspired, sir. And in Amrut also, we have adopted across India some of these ideas, especially drink from tap, because that is an idea which is actually we are bringing in as a developed country initiative. When we go to US or UK or anywhere, we would like to drink water from toilet and say, "Oh, bathroom में भी अच्छा पानी पी सकता है." I don't know why we can't say about that like that in India. So I think Drink from Tap was a great initiative which we have mirrored across India. Similarly, involving the women self-help groups, I'm happy to state at this point of time, 10,000 women are working under Amrut Mitra, and inspiration partly comes from Odisha and mainly comes from Odisha. I learnt a lot of attributes, including a mentor who has been appointed for the self-help groups to mentor. I think thank you so much, sir. You have been a great inspiration to all of us. And this book will, anyway, I don't think this book needs to succeed. It is a book, it is a success which has got into a book. So I think it's that way a very great thing. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. In fact, the earlier book Matisa has written is about the drink from tap, people first. I am one of the fortunate reviewers. I highly recommend the book if you haven't read it yet. I now will introduce the co-author of this book. So please don't stand up yet. I have a long introduction to read. Shubhagato, sir, many of some of you know him very well. Some of you may not. So, sir is a senior fellow at Center for Policy Research and also director at Scaling City Institutions for India, also known as SciFi. And he's also a team leader at the Asian Institute of Technology in Thailand. Shubhagato is a very well regarded urban professional with more than 30 years of experience in India and across Asia and Africa. He worked in many public domain organizations like HUDCO and SNPUPR, and even private organizations like IDFC and multilateral institutions, World Bank and IFC. He worked in the academic sector with CPR, NUS, and many other organizations. In the public sector and with multilaterals, he's been involved in drafting national level policies, supporting setting up of retail, housing finance, institutional restructuring, and project evaluations. He played a key role in developing pro poor urban and housing policies and supporting implementation across 15 states. I worked with him when we were drafting the SOPs for Jaga mission, and I was amazed by. If you are ever in a meeting with Mati sir, you know how obsessed he is about SOPs, right? And he's another man equally obsessed about SOPs, and no wonder they both wrote this book together. Shubhagato was an architect at the. He was trained as an architect at the SEPT in Ahmedabad and MSc in Housing and Development from the University College London. Also a PhD candidate at University of Amsterdam. He's authored several journal articles and he co-authored this book not just a co-author himself, but has been a practitioner within the uh, urban Odisha transformation journey. Shubhagato has been part of it. Now over to Shubhagato for his concluding remarks and his experience in this book, as well as vote of thanks.
Thank you, Srinivas. I guess you got your word in. In conclusion, first to say thank you to Secretary Sir for gracing the occasion. It was wonderful to hear him speak. I mean, GUDC and all his experience, and we're looking forward to his leadership as we go forward. To Dr. Kundu, Professor Mathur, Mr. Tripathi, Ms. Thara, thank you so much for all for talking about your experiences from the book, from the work that Orissa has been able to accomplish. So many insights, and it's so good that we have all followed it together over this period. For others who are newer to this context, there are a number of us who have been deeply involved with it. Just in some assistance to read the book. The first three chapters give us an understanding of the context of urbanization in Orissa. It was mentioned by Madam Thara that it was an early stage of urbanization in the context of India, and there was a great focus on smaller towns to start snowballing into the rest of the system. That was special about the context. We do capture some of that in the book. Then the next 9 chapters dwell into the nitty gritty of every program, which I think was quite an amazing exercise to be in partnership with the government, working out all of these. There's a lot of lessons in the nitty gritty of it, and I'm sure urban professionals will work with it for a while. There's lots of insights in the nitty gritties. Madam Thara again mentioned a few of them. Going forward, the last 3 chapters essentially talk about then what is this underlying urban Orissa model? What is the model for urban development? And we try and address that by looking at what are the underlying principles that seem to be common across each of these policies and programs, and they are a number of them. Working with first principles of relooking at decentralization, centralization that Mr. Tripathi also mentioned, about looking at how coordination works better, how to involve communities, along with seeing it as a sequential process, how over shorter periods and quicker reform over a sequence of period, which in Orissa officers don't get to run away and leave the legacy for the next person very easily. And we were delighted that Mr. Mathivatnan led it and led the whole transformation on the ground. How the other issue that the book discusses is about how national policies and programs get contextualized within a state framework. So there was not a penny that Government of India provided that wasn't utilized in the programs, but the state government came in alongside that to fill in whatever gaps were required. There are a number of tactical issues that are discussed, including the involving of multiple partners in the process while leading them, to enjoy their work and contribute to a shared vision. The underlying financial model or service delivery model in each sector, the way smaller projects were taken so that the risks of innovation are not felt are tested before they're scaled up. There was sub-pilots and pilots in every program that led to lessons learned, which then led to the scaling up process. So as the book kind of contends with the fact that these underlying principles are common for urban governance solutions, and that how you localize it is where all the trick lies. And means, in that sense, it's obviously a principle that is beyond India and globally acknowledged, as well as that the SDGs indicators point to various amount of these things. 11 of the SDGs are kind of addressed through the urban development model in Orissa. And to say that, other than the awards that Srinivas mentioned, there was also a whole host of capacity building or capacities being built on the ground, not only in India but internationally. Many Asian countries visited it. Many local governments visited Orissa through this period. Even Rwanda's water sector came and visited the project and learned a lot from it. There was, the capacities that this 10-year exercise in Orissa has built for the sector in general, with Orissa's institutions supporting the World Bank in projects, means with often inquiries across the world. Means it's been an amazing exercise of building capacities for the sector also. Means do look at the last 3 chapters in this light. I now have the honorable duty to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of Mr. Mathivathan and myself. First, of course, means as Mr. Mathivathan mentioned, that having the secretary here was a great privilege and an honor to grace this occasion, and it was wonderful to hear all his insights. Thank you so much, Mr. Tripathi, Professor Mathur, Dr. Kundu. You have continuously led generations of urban scholars and practitioners in thinking about these issues. It's really lovely to learn from your insights on the book. There is a couple of chapters, I guess, we need to add to it about how it was financed, and how in one sense the model for decentralization got thought through in a much more detailed sector specific manner. Also, that the MPCs and DPCs are very active in the state. It was just that they did not have too much of urban work to do, but going forward, through urban rural convergence, another big innovation in Orissa's policy led by Mr. Mathivatnan, which has taken has seen traction in Government of India too. It does address the DPC MPC role in a more concrete manner. To Ma'am Thara, Mr. Singh for joining us today, others from the Government of India, thank you so much for your presence and insights. To the highly esteemed reviewers, Ms. Anna Claudia Roshbash, who has herself been engaged in a number of workshops that we did with Mr. Mathivatnan and Government of Orissa, who is the current United Nations Under Secretary General and Executive Director of UN Habitat. Dr. Biswas, who is a Stockholm Water Prize laureate from 2006. Dr. Bhide, who is from the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and Barjor Mehta, Mr. President of CEPT University, who gave us the formal reviews for the book. To, of course, Chinmay Tripathi and Srinivas for your wonderful moderation. Chinmay for all these arrangements. Thank you so much. Where are you? Where are you? Yeah. Oh, right in front. Thank you. Please, a warm hands for him. He's instant. And Srinivas, you too. The book owes so much, means there is rarely a book, sir, that owes so much to so many people. So from the Government of Orissa's Team Orissa, to the ULB officials, to the people of Orissa, urban Orissa, who engaged with this process in such an intimate, detailed manner, to institutional partners, some of which Mr. Mathivathan did mention: Gates Foundation, Omidyar Network, Tata Trust, Tata Steel Foundation, UNICEF, eGov Foundation, Janagra, UMC, CSC, CPR, NIUA, and the list goes on. Everyone got space, got to contribute to this exercise. It's really a large network that Mr. Mathivathan kind of brought in and guided in the process. Was amazing to see. Also, for the book itself, the contributions of the sci-fi team, the researchers, some of them are here. Thank you so much. It wouldn't have been possible without you all. It's as you heard, it's a very important exercise in documenting this. It was wonderful that you could spare the time. Our president from CPR isn't present today because he's unwell, but we have our senior faculty who was on your side, but this is on our side. Mr. Ashok Kumar, Nimi, others too. Thank you so much for being here. To IWA Publishing for bearing with us through this period and for publishing this in an open access manner. We have former IWA people here, but it does help because it's easy to reach this book. It's on the net and it's searchable. To our families, can't miss them. And finally, on a personal note, also to Mr. Mathivathan, co-author, intellectual partner, what a ride it has been for the 10 years. In my 30 years of career in the urban sector, rarely, working across public-private, as Srinivas mentioned, in Asia, Africa, with local governments, national governments, there's really rarely been any experience that is so rewarding and learning. So it's been a true privilege. To all of you for being part of this process and for being here today. There is, I'm sure we've learned a lot in the bargain, and I second you in congratulating Mr. Mathivathan for all of this opportunity. And with that, I would give it back to Srinivas as to how he wants to go forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations to you and to Mati, sir, on this wonderful book launch. We are now at the formal close of this book launch event, but like I promised before, there is more. We break for tea. Tea is served right here. High tea. It'll be high tea. And how many of you want to speak to the authors and know more? Understand what is this fourth tea here all about? What is the culture of partnerships? What does converge? How do you get money from union and state and combine it and make it available to you, urban local bodies? And two favorite words of Mati sir that I can never forget: speed and scale. Any of you heard it? Speed and scale. You want to know more about that? So for that, we'll come back for a informal but engaging discussion with the authors. So, sir, we're stopping right on time, sir. I think it's kudos to all the speakers on stage. Thank you very much. But 15 minutes, we're back on the stage. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Shall we get started? Yes. Okay, for all the urban enthusiasts and practitioners, there are two. Okay, here is the first question, sir. So how do you distinguish between third tier and fourth tier? Is there really a fourth tier of governance? There is no term of fourth tier of governance found in any legislation at a national level. But is there such a thing in Odisha municipal acts? Can you speak to this, sir? Mati sir, you can speak to it, and then Shubhagato sir can add his views.
Srinivasi, if you had some questions, we could have discussed it later on after the event.
Okay.
So you have assembled everyone here and asking a question.
There are a lot of questions, sir. They are being very shy. So because I am not shy, I am asking you.
In my opinion, fourth tier is the true spirit of decentralization. Decentralization should not stop with the third tier. There is a tendency that third tier will hijack the powers. Won't any tier for that sense till it reaches the grassroots. The decentralization and devolution should continue till it reaches the bottommost. That's a real empowerment. Otherwise, at whatever level they tend to hold on to that. They don't share with the level below. So we thought we felt that until the grassroots, like the slum dwellers association, the women self-help groups, and similar such community-based institutions are organized, empowered, and we onboard them in the governance and development process, true development cannot happen. That's what we experimented with Jaga Mission. That's what we experimented in all our initiative. So community partnership, empowered community partnership, is the spirit behind all these programs and the success recipe of all these programs.
Okay. If any of you have questions, raise your hand. A mic will come to you, or you can just ask from where you are. Shubhagato sir, you said you worked in different countries in Asia and Africa, and you said rather emotionally that the kind of things that you see in Odisha you haven't experienced in other places. Is that because things have gone from research into action, into the ground at scale at a state level, or is there some other reason why you made such a big statement that you haven't seen anything like this?
No, means I mean, I guess I've seen a lot in 30 years, but not seen everything, right? So till we worked in Orissa, all of us together, so many people in this room, each impact was much higher than what we had expected or planned for, right? So means whether it comes to very technical issues like the quality of the river water, if it comes to issues about women's empowerment through the self-help groups and their context in the terms in when COVID hit, they were earning more than the men in their family, and the empowerment that led to each of these were not predictable. Means in the sense that whatever we wanted to do, it was impacting the context and the lives of the people in a completely at a different scale than what one would have imagined it to be from other contexts. So means often there is these policies, when they get into practice, they hit a lot of implementation barriers. There is a lot of gaming in the system. What Orissa did so smoothly under Mr. Mathivatnan's leadership is to make sure that these leakages were minimized, that the true spirit of the plans were being implemented, and hence it kind of led to greater impacts than were predictable.
Thank you. Any questions from the room? Yes, please. Over there. Let me get you a mic. Is there another mic, sir?
There is a mic here.
Oh, right.
Yeah, okay. Thanks very much. I'm Mary Helen Zera. I'm a colleague of Shubhagato at CPR, so I've kind of followed a little bit the Odisha story. My question is about management with the political class. And of course, Odisha had one party which was leading and which has been in power for a long time, and which also held a lot of the municipal corporations. So, how did you manage the political reality and the negotiation with the political class at the multi-scalar level, at the state level, at the district level, and at the municipal council level? Because often that's one tension that can exist between the bureaucracy and the political alignment.
It's a very difficult question. Is there any choice?
I have another question. So I can add a few questions.
If there is choice, we can skip.
Yeah. I'll ask the question in
Yeah.
a slightly different way. I also have a question.
No, I can answer
It's
it.
a similar question, but I'll ask a similar question. I wanted to ask it now because it's kind of related. I had apart from being Shubhagatu's colleague, I also had the advantage of being able to go to Odisha a couple of times and actually see some of this stuff. We went to Puri, was it 2 years ago? We went to Puri and Bhubaneswar and Katni, and we saw Jatni. We saw lots of these things. We saw the water supply and all of that. One of the things that I found quite there were many things that were striking about it. One of the things I found really striking was the kind of de-emphasization, because we are very used to hearing for 20 years about water sector reforms, and we're very used to hearing about cost recovery and tariffs and all of that. And it was striking to me the de-emphasis on it, which I think was, I think it was very tactical and very, it was a very, in getting it done, like that tariff and cost recovery and PPP has always been the obstacle to getting it done. And somehow you had managed to get past that. Maybe while you talk about the politics, you could also tell us a little bit about the thinking that went behind this very significant and less noticed kind of aspect of it.
First, I'll answer her question. How do you work with the political system while implementing the reforms? What we have experienced is political will is there for reforms. There is an inherent political will for providing better municipal services, people-centric services. There is an inherent. Depends upon how strategically you are able to leverage it. Say drink from tap, water connection, universal coverage of tap water connection, slum empowerment, land rights, all these things. We may think that there may not be a political support, but the truth is that every political party will support this. Every politician will support because it will get them votes. It's very important. If the people are happy, the politician will be happy. So they want people to be happy. And if you are committed, you are passionate, you have an able team, and if you can deliver what you promise, then the politician will trust you. Then they will bet on you. You have to take the leadership. You have to drive it. You have to be passionate about it. That's how we have done. We just tapped that political leverage, that political will. It's there with everybody. Because we have 115 cities. Whatever we have done, it's not on pilot basis in a part of a city or in one or two cities. It's all done across all the cities, 115 cities, not leaving anyone. It's not that only one political party was ruling in all. Every political party was ruling in all the other councils. Everywhere we had the success because the programs were so strong. The programs were touching the lives of the people. And the teams were committed, passionate. That's how we delivered. And few things I de-emphasized. Number one is the cost recovery. The language of cost recovery must have come from the external funding organizations. My apologies to the World Bank and other ma'am and who represent the World Bank here. So the cost recovery in providing basic services is the thing which I hate. You can't expect people to pay for these essential basic things. And the other thing that's how we work. If you can see our our water tariff collection was to the tune of 30%, 35%, 40%, not even touching 50%. The moment you provide a tap connection to every home, provide assured water supply, good quality water supply, people would be willing to pay. Trust them. So when we started implementing, people say that put the meter. We said that I'll put the meter only at the end, not now. So the finance commission, the fourth finance commission, have given 125 crore every year for metering. When the state was not having tap water connection, the state finance commission has earmarked for 3 years 125 crore, 375 crores. But we didn't have the pipe network, we didn't have the pipe connection. I said that give me all these 375 crores for providing tap connection and water. Let me give water first, quantity, quality. Then we will go to them for metering and cost recovery. That should be the approach. Provide the service and then ask for money. Not ask for money without providing service. That's the approach. And I can say with proud that in most of our cities, the revenue collection is more than 90%. And there is another myth that the poor don't pay. The truth is, rich don't pay, poor pays. That's the truth. I have empirical evidence to prove it. It's not out of ideology. Right? There is another myth that's floating around. Subsidies are bad. Right? You provide subsidy in food, affordable food program, or subsidized water supply and all, you are discouraging people. You are making people lazy. We have implemented AHAR program, affordable meal program, 5 rupees for a sumptuous, nutritious meal, hot cooked rice with the dal, with vegetables and all, 5 rupees from 11 o'clock to, but for the lunch as well as for the dinner. Every day 1 lakh people are being served in Odisha through 167 centers. And if you see those food centers, you will find like a star hotel. Our logic is, our belief is that the intervention for the poor need not be poor. It can be rich. And serve with dignity. Whatever you do, serve with dignity. Everybody deserves dignity. So in our AHAR centers, you will find it. So there, people said that if you provide a subsidized food, people will close down their kitchen. The slums will close down their kitchen and they will start depending on your AHAR food. You are making people lazy. Right? You are misusing the taxpayers' money. So even today, though government has sanctioned 1 lakh meals a day, not even 80, not more than 85,000 or 80,000 will be the daily offtake. 10,000 people, 10,000 meals will not be eaten. We don't prepare actually. It's not that just because you are providing subsidized meal, people will close down their kitchen. And another apprehension is that if you give land rights to the slum dwellers, then you are encouraging migration. You are encouraging encroachment. It would encourage people from leaving their villages and come to the urban area. You are rewarding encroachers. That was the accusation. We started that program in 2017. Antarini is one of our warriors in the slums. Yeah, a lot of people are there. So we can say now, after 8 years of implementation, there is no abnormal growth in these slums. There is a normal growth. Just because you are providing 30 square meters of land in which they are living, people don't abandon their village, don't leave their native place and come to your urban area. It's not empirical. We have empirical data to prove that. So many myths we have broken in our experiences.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. So we have just a quick note. We have about 10 minutes. So short answers, short questions will get us more question answers.
So, means I just wanted to go back to the first question also. Is that in literature and in past experience, there seems to be a lot of literature around politicians not being aligned. which I think is not necessarily true in most contexts now in India. It is very much competitive. The reaching the last mile is very much in the politicians' agenda. It is about designing to meet this. So I think there is a paradigm shift even in the governance context, the drivers for governance. From the theoretical perspective, it might be very useful to study that.
Okay, couple, Preeti, Anindya, and someone in the back. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know your name, but yeah. Preeti, go. Take the mic from there. You can give the mic there.
Sir, apologies for
You had a
asking this question because I know a lot of people, when they think about providing livelihood support, they would think about women first. But Odisha is unique, and for many in the room, they don't know that we have very much clear allocation for transgenders and third gender. And so I know it, but I would want you to answer what was the intent and emotion that really allowed you to spotlight on that cohort. Because when I went back last week to Bhubaneswar, I met many of them, and then they were pretty happy in the kind of roles they were playing. And I see that's a learning that a lot of states can emulate, sir.
We'll take second question also, Anindya.
Sir, Mati sir, this question is for you. So I would like to understand. I mean, you called out a few stakeholders while you were explaining about, like politicians, practitioners, and all of that. But who, in your mind, will benefit the most from your book? And how do you see the learning captured in your book being best utilized in your mind? So yeah, that's my question.
Okay. Can answer.
First question about the transgenders. As I said,
Take the mic.
transgender is an exclusive urban issue, which you will not find in the rural. And all of us, we encounter transgenders on everyday basis in the traffic signals. When they come and knock at you feel very embarrassed. We pretend as if we are looking at the mobile WhatsApp messages. We avoid looking at them. It's very embarrassing. As a normal person, I can do that. Not as secretary in charge of urban development when it is happening in my city. Right? I have not created the problem. I have inherited the problem. Many of the problems are inherited. It was there before my predecessor, and I can leave it to my successor also. The legacy which we got. But it disturbs you because transgender it's a manufacturing defect. I should not say I said defect. Right? My apologies for calling that as a defect. It's a manufacturing issue. And if there is a defect in the product, right? If there is an issue in the product, the manufacturer is the manufacturer is responsible, not the product. So when we say that we are a creation of God, the God is to be blamed for it. And right? And they can't be, but they are ostracized completely, social exclusion, and they have to escape from their family, their social circle. There is no life for them. And begging and prostitution are the livelihoods for them. There is no other way they can survive. So, as an ordinary person, I can actually ignore and go. But not when you are holding a position, when you are presiding over a department, when you are presiding over the municipal administration, city administration. So what can be done? So then we thought about it, started talking to them, counseling, then understanding how we can onboard them. And if you see our water supply, sanitation and all, we have deliberately worked on de-technologifying things. Wherever technology was required, we were using the state-of-art technology like, drink from tap. In the sanitation and all, we have completely de-technologified it. We don't use that high-end technology. We have made it very simple, nature-based solution in the sanitation spectrum. That's the reason that all our sanitation facilities in the state, whether it is solid waste or liquid waste, 100% managed by the women self-help groups, mostly semi-literates from the slums, or 100% managed by the transgender groups, because there is no technology involved. We made it very simple. Anybody can operate with a little bit of capacity building. Anybody can. So that has become a livelihood. The sanitation, addressing a sanitation problem of a city, has become a source of livelihood for thousands of marginalized people, including the transgenders. That's how we could onboard the transgender communities groups into water treatment plant operation and management, FSTP operation and management. That's how they could, and you strengthen them, you work with them, and then you look from their point of view. Then that's how you make them, you empower them and make them grow. That's how they have gone up to receiving national awards. They are leaders now.
So the second question was about how you see
Who will
people
read?
using this book, and short answer please, because I have two more
I have
questions
a
and
problem
clock
of-
is ticking.
I can't give a short answer.
So really short answer.
those who those who those who manage the cities, those who make policies for the city governance, city administration, urban, should read it, understand what is this model, whether this model can be applicable there, whether some of the ingredients, maybe the entire model cannot be, some of the ingredients there may be of use.
Thank you. That was really short. Sudarshan sir, sir, you, I forgot your name. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You and then Antarin. Yeah.
Good evening. No, I'm Shashank
Shashank. Yes.
from Odisha itself. See, Garima brings Garima, dignity to the core sanitation workers, as it has been experimented there. But if you see, dignity is something which has kept itself quite distant from this sanitation workers, starting from Gandhi Kasturba's experiment of truth to the recent years of, Kumbh Melas and all those things. The question here is, how is that dignity could be installed, which happens to be a daydream of these sanitation workers, how that dream could be installed amongst them, and later those daydreams could be really realized or materialized. That's the strategies that government of Odisha has adopted, or Mathi sir had incorporated. We want to learn about it.
Thank you, Shashank. Antarin, if there's anyone with one burning question, raise your hand, or this is the last one. Okay, two. I give you both of you, and that's it. Yeah. go ahead.
Hands doesn't matter. We have the mics.
You are already on the queue, my friend. Go ahead. Antarin is also a professor, so short question, Antarin.
That shows that professors are the last ones to ask sharp questions. So, but no, that's not. It's not exactly a question, but it also is. So, let's say after Jaga mission, I was, as Mathi sir knows, I was quite berserk in Jaga mission. I was also pretty berserk after leaving Jaga mission. And so I searched everywhere for something that would even be remotely similar to what was going on in Odisha. So I was active in Delhi, which till today does not even know how many slums it has. It does not know where those slums are located. Everybody is talking, right? So then one thing becomes very clear, that which is also the fundamental thing, that it is great that this book has come, but I think the gap between understanding of what it actually takes to do something is so poor that majority of the people have a sense that they know what they're talking about. They have actually never even attempted it. So they don't know what it takes. Which I used to often tell my friends, that which was a model of Odisha which I love very much, that those who are in Odisha, they must be in Odisha. Now, people who would come from other states to visit, empirically, geographically, you can understand their limits. They will only see places which are within 2 hours driving distance from Bhubaneswar, maybe not even that, right? Jaga mission is pan-state. So when I try to explain, when I try to tell people 115 cities, I ask my friends from Karnataka, name all the cities of your state. No, Mysore, Bangalore, and book. After that, maybe, some Raichur, this and that. West Bengal, they don't know. So
people actually do not. What happened in Orissa? It needs this book. It needs many iterations of the book. It needs a lot because now when also many things have changed in Orissa, so kind of that force is also gone, right? Now with that force, now sometimes when an entity exists in full form, that itself makes others do it. Much of what is happening outside, what I saw in Jagamish is largely talk, and I don't think Sir will mind, but there's a whole book of quotations of Mr. Mathivatnan, which I have, which I noted personally, and many of the principles of it. But one of the things he said, which I love it, was think tanks. I think I see only the tank. I very seldom see the thing. It's absolutely. Well, okay, but I'm referring to. I'm referring to the. It's okay. I work as freelance for think tanks. That's not the point. But so my request, or rather that my question is that there should be a lot beyond the book, and there should be a lot of focus on not just the terminology and things, but the actual technical workings, like what Madam said, the diagnostic approach. I mean, how can you explain to a person? NIUA teams go from here and study Orissa. I come back 2 years later, I talk to the same, and I talk to my friends, Nilesh and others, they're good friends, they're from SPA, I'm from SPA. They're kind of classmates. And I say, what? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They could not even make a map of slums in Delhi. And MPD 2041, right? So,
Professor Antrin, I must interrupt you as we are getting signs from both doors to end the session.
Of course, but
it's a huge thing that you are saying, and I do ask every one of you to engage with the thought, because the state level work is very different than working in a few places, and also the kind of things that people so there are friends from Delhi resident groups that were requesting Mati sir if he can work in Delhi at the end of that session, right? So that is right there, you're hearing there. So one second, Antrin.
When I visit slums in Gurgaon, slums in Gurgaon, there is a palpable qualitative.
I think we need to clone Mati sir into about 100 copies very soon.
My apologies. It's just that when you have the mic, you should not let go.
Yes.
And you should take maximum advantage of it. It's also like Jaga Mission.
Thank you, Antrin. My apologies to the ladies in the back. Chinmay is giving me dirty looks, so I can't pass the mic. Yes? I think, yes. So I have approval from the big boss there. So make it very short, ma'am. Quickly.
Absolutely. My name is Gurinder Kaur, and I'm an urban planner. I'm also an urban geographer. And I studied in CEPT, and I've worked in various kinds of assignments and fields, both national and international development. I must say that this is really like a breath of fresh air, what I heard. I quickly flipped through the book, read portions of it, and I truly compliment the authors for documenting it. And secondly, also very much for the actual work, the substance of the work that has gone in. It's absolutely impressive. And my concern is, what next? So where does this book take us beyond this? So just one more sentence. And the other thing is, how replicable is it? The work of Orissa, how replicable is it, and how can we make it replicable? And then, are there any plans of a maybe mega or pan India plan to take some of these lessons in a replication mode?
No, thank you, ma'am. That's really wonderful to end this on. And as I bring to a close, I request Shubhagato sir to reflect on what she just said, what next, and any final thoughts before we end this session, and then pass it on to Mati sir. Thank you.
Just a quick note on what is next. Essentially, one of the most rewarding things, as I mentioned, in Orissa has been that the huge cadre of technical experts, governance experts, institutional analysis experts, researchers in the urban field that it has created. It has not only created them in a research or academic environment, it's actually exposed them to the field on the ground, and as they challenge the known principles that have informed us so far, that's where the opportunity for the future lies. And I'm sure it's hard to come by. So we are very grateful.
Srinivas, final note.
So can I please ask my question? Is that okay? I'll keep it under 60 seconds for sure. So good evening, sir, Amadi sir, Shubhagatu sir. I would like to extend my heartiest congratulations to both of you. My name is Ankita and I'm a graduate of master's degree in urban policy and governance from TIS Mumbai. I had 3 questions, but due to the paucity of time, I'll stick to one. So, yes, I'm just finishing. Sir, I just wanted to know what were certain measures that you took for a better coordination between the different departments? Because through the fieldwork that I've done in Pondicherry and Mumbai and places, I've noticed that there's absolutely no coordination or transparency between, let's say, the town and country planning department or just the planning department in general. Both have the same goals, but there's absolutely no transparency. So, what were certain measures that you took to make it a success? That's it. Yeah. Thank you.
Sir, this is a matter of executive decision. I have the hall manager standing next to me. So
I'll explain this to Ankita outside. We need to close this.
Thank you. I have 2 more questions also.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a final.
Fine. Fine. I need to conclude. I need to.
I'm
She's my
gonna
granddaughter. I can't.
I'm gonna ask a really short question. I'm so curious that how did you manage drink from tap and sanitation in disasters like Fani, cyclone and corona periods?
How can you say no to that question?
I have no answer for my granddaughter. Disaster resilience is part and parcel of designing a scheme. So we always keep that in mind, even during disasters. How? Because Odisha is known for having disasters every alternate year. Disasters love Odisha. So every year they want to visit Odisha. Once in 2 years they are successful. So we are tuned to think in that, put that glass, how to disaster proof our schemes, water supply, sanitation, all those things. So community resilience is fundamental to it. You empower the communities, decentralize the work so that they are able to take care of their neighborhoods. So the more you decentralize, better for disaster resilience. More you strengthen, empower the local communities, disaster proofing. That's how we worked. And to end, I must thank my co-author, Mr. Shubhagato, whom I met in 2014, 11 years ago. He was the first development partner I met. It was an act. So, and that partnership grew. Even after I left the department, it's continuing. And we enjoyed the kind of relationship, partnership. And I got a lot of respect for the partner organizations, through him only. So I owe a lot to him. He initiated me into the FSM. He explained to me what is FSM. So the initial classroom he took. Then we made FSM as a kind of national agenda and pioneered, and so all those things. So it has been a great pleasure.
A big round for the partnership and the book. Thank you, everyone. I was told we have, if any of you would like to get a copy of the book, we have 10 copies of the book left. You can get it signed by the author. Some of them have been signed. So as you leave, you can grab one of those remaining 10 books that are next to the stage right here. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to you and your team.